Hey guys, welcome back to Ben Talk Sports. In the summer of 2016, one of the biggest and most controversial free agency signings happened in the NBA, which is obviously Kevin Durant joining the 73-9 Golden State Warriors after just losing to them in the Western Conference Finals, thus beginning the debate of who is better, Kevin Durant or Stephen Curry. So we know they both went on to win 2 championships together, but who is the better player between the two? So in this video, I'm going to be giving my take on this and comparing their strengths and weaknesses to determine who is the second best player of the 2010s. But before we start though, please smash that like button as it really helps out the channel. So, without further ado, let's begin. First, let's start off with the Slim Reaper himself, Kevin Durant. Now, Durant was drafted with the 2nd overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft by the Seattle Supersonics, remember them? And thus begins the journey of one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. So in his rookie year, he made his name known from the start as he averaged over 20 points per game as a rookie and even had a very memorable game-winning 3 in a Supersonics uniform. Oh, and he also won Rookie of the Year. But he was just only scratching the surface of his potential. In his 3rd season in the league, he began his ascension into one of the best players in the entire NBA, as he was named to his first All-Star team and became the youngest scoring champion in NBA history at 21 years and 197 days old. And he averaged 30.1 points, 6.5 rebounds, and almost 3 assists per game, shooting over 42% from 3. That was also his first time in the playoffs, but they had an early first round exit, and KD didn't really perform like he did in the regular season. But after getting a taste of what the playoffs were like, KD now became Kevin Durant in all caps, and he would go berserk as he won the next 3 scoring titles, making him a 4-time scoring champion. And during the 2011-2012 NBA season, he made his first NBA Finals with Russell Westbrook and James Harden, but they eventually lost in 5 games to LeBron James and the Miami Heat. And even though the young Thunder team stood no chance against them, they were still extremely young, and people thought that they would be the league's next big 3. Then the Thunder decided they didn't want to pay James Harden anymore and traded him to the Houston Rockets, thus beginning the journey of KD trying to win the championship with a ball-hogging, inefficient Russell Westbrook as the second best player. Oh, and I do have to quickly shout out his 2013-14 season, which he won MVP, averaging over 32 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists on 50, 39, 87 shooting splits. I just think that is one of the most underrated MVP campaigns in the past decade. Now, over the next few seasons, he would continue to make All-Star and All-NBA teams, but kept losing in the playoffs and was never able to win a championship. Until the 2015-16 season, which was KD's last season on the Thunder, which they almost beat the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. And I know people give Westbrook a lot of crap for playing bad during the latter part of the series, but I mean, KD didn't even play that great either. I mean, he still averaged 30 points in that series, but in their 3 straight losses, KD shot just 39% from the field and 27% from 3. Then he would take his talents over to Golden State and become the villain of the NBA. And those 3 seasons in Golden State, you can tell that they coasted through the regular season, but Durant still averaged 26, 7, and 5 on 52% shooting though. And they went on to win 2 NBA championships with him, and he took home both Finals MVP awards. And if he didn't tear his Achilles against the Raptors in 2019, they for sure would have 3-peated. But after that, he wanted to start a new chapter of his career, so he teamed up with Kyrie, then later his old teammate James Harden, on the Brooklyn Nets. Now on the Nets, he missed his first season with them because of his Achilles injury, but he returned like he was never even injured and still led them all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, where he was literally 1 inch away from beating the eventual champions, which was very unfortunate. But now let's talk about some weaknesses in his game. Now, talking about KD's weaknesses is like finding a needle in a haystack, so I am really nitpicking here, and I'm going to say his playmaking. Now, it definitely has improved over the years, especially during his time in Golden State, but you can tell that he is always thinking score first instead of getting his teammates open. So if I were to nitpick, I would say that it's pretty much his only weakness. Now let's move on to the baby-faced assassin, Stephen Curry. So Steph was drafted with the 7th overall pick in the 2009 NBA draft by the Warriors. Sorry Timberwolves fans. And I don't think people really remember or even talk about Steph's earlier years in the league because he wasn't the greatest shooter of all time yet. But he had a pretty good rookie season, averaging over 17 points and 5 assists per game, shooting 43% from behind the arc, and begins a streak of shooting over 40% from 3 every season of his career. Except the 2020 season, but I mean he only played 5 games, so I don't think that really counts. But moving on with Steph's career, early on he was pretty good, but the only thing holding him back was injuries. And he had, and I guess still has, glass ankles and would constantly injure them, sometimes just by running up and down the court. But there is always a silver lining. And because of his injury history, the Warriors were able to pay him less because other teams were skeptical of his injuries and thought that he wouldn't be worth the money. So in the summer of 2012, the Warriors signed him to a 4-year, $44 million contract, which is one of the best deals in NBA history. I mean, he was getting paid just $11 million a year doing his 2 MVP runs. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and talk about his iconic 54-point game against the Knicks that really put him on the map. And the next season, he would make his first All-Star team in 2014. But it was the following year, in 2015, when he started to change the entire league. Wait, scratch that. It was the year that he changed basketball. Because during the 2015 season, Curry went on an absolute tear, just torching other NBA teams with 3 after 3 after 3. And what differentiates him from other great shooters in the league is that he is equally as deadly shooting off the dribble or off the catch, and started to launch threes 5, 10, 15 feet behind the line. And say what you want about Curry ruining the game, but you have to admit that he literally shifted everyone's perspective that a jump shooting team can win the NBA championship, which is exactly what they did. Steph capped off his first MVP campaign with a ring, and he should have won Finals MVP in my opinion. And we all know at that point that he was the best point guard in the league. But in 2016, he went even crazier, averaging over 30 points per game on 50, 45, 90 shooting splits, and set an NBA record 402 threes in a single season, which probably won't be beaten for a very long time, and solidified his status as an NBA legend. And even though he kinda took a backseat to KD when he joined the team, he was still putting up great numbers, and in 2018, he actually could have won the Finals MVP over Durant. Then after KD left, it was back to Steph being the primary offensive threat on the team again, and especially with Klay Thompson injured, it was crazy that he was still able to average over 32 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game in 2021, and finished second in MVP voting. And now with Klay back, let's see what he can do in the 2022 season. But I do have to talk about his defense for a bit, because even though he isn't a terrible defender and can be a pretty good on-ball defender because of his fast hands, I wouldn't say that he is a good or even average on that end of the floor because he does get exposed a lot, but his offensive game more than makes up for his defensive limitations. So now that we went over both players' careers, I do think that Stephen Curry is a slightly better player than KD in terms of all-time rankings, but if you think that KD is better, I honestly wouldn't even be mad, because these players are so close and they will both be remembered as legends in the game of basketball. So that's the end of the video guys. Now let me know in the comment section down below, who do you guys think is a better player, and which players do you guys want to see a versus series for? So with that being said, thank you guys very much for watching this video. We are pushing for 5,000 subscribers in 2021, so if you guys liked it, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications as I upload new videos every single week. And thanks for watching.